So happy to be here with everybody. I have grown up in the D2C world before it was really called D2C. So my roots go back to like traditional direct mail and catalog, and then had the pleasure of coming into the digital world right when it first started, where people were just doing banner ads and emails and that stuff. So grew up in D2C, so really happy to be with you all today. My experience really mostly is apparel, Ralph Lauren, Ann Taylor, and then I made the move into furniture at Lovesac. I've been at Lovesac just about 8 years now, which has flown by. We've done so much, and just excited to be here with my partner in crime, Elliot.
Likewise, yeah. Hey guys, I'm Elliot. I am an account executive on the mid-market team at Google and have spent the last roughly 5 of my 9 years at Google working with D2C and omni-channel, multi-channel brands, and have had the pleasure of working with Sue and her team for over 3 years, which, if anybody in the room, have you had the same Google rep for 3 years? Anybody? I didn't expect to see a single hand up. I feel like this is an anomaly, but speaks to the partnership that we built and the value in that, and yeah, have appreciated every minute of it.
He's chained to...
Cool.
Yeah, go.
You want me to jump into it? Well, I was going to start with a quick fun fact, because I actually grew up in a small town in South Dakota, and a week from tomorrow, Lovesac is opening the first physical showroom in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And when I say the entire state is buzzing with anticipation, I mean it. My first question was going to be, do you see a John Deere Lovesac collaboration in the future, or what should people in South Dakota expect?
So little do you know, at our inception, our founder, Sean Nelson, actually used a tractor to help fill sacks and get all the foam he needed from recycled couches. So we do have a history with tractors.
Okay, deep roots. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, I want to start by going through the history and the journey of Lovesac as a business. You started with beanbag chairs, you evolved into this digitally driven home furnishing brand. And so for anybody in the room that maybe isn't aware of that journey, how you've come to be, maybe some challenges that you've gone through, maybe just talk through that a little bit.
Yeah. So one of the biggest challenges is people singing Love Shack to me when I walk into the room. But other than that...
It gets old?
Yeah. Yeah. So our founder, Sean Nelson, started Lovesac 27 years ago, sitting in his parents' basement, eating Captain Crunch, thought it would be cool to create the biggest bean bags without beans. So that is our humble start from there. And then really was a side hustle, then got a request from the Limited to make a lot, and he maxed out his credit cards and fulfilled that order. Then probably about 20 years ago is when Sactionals, our version of Sactionals modular furniture, was born. And so I don't think a lot of people realize that Lovesac is actually as old as it is, 27 years old. So we have been around for a while and have really always been D2C, but really our showrooms are kind of our premier way of people understanding just what you can do with Sactionals and just how phenomenal they actually are.
Yeah.
And we went public in 2018, so that was a big milestone also.
For sure, yeah. And then you personally have a lot of great experience navigating the D2C space. I guess from your perspective, working in, sounds like fashion and now furniture, how have you seen that landscape evolve specifically for brands like Lovesac? Any big shifts or challenges that you've had to adapt to personally? Like, how has running that business changed in the last 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, D2C in general over the past X many years of my career, a lot, more than 20, has been really interesting because, from the digital side, it used to be, we're going to send you ads and we're going to send them to everybody and you'll just love us and come to us and shop from us, right? Yep. As D2C and the digital world has evolved, it's been more, now it's customer first, right? And so how do you listen to your customer base and provide to them the experiences that they want in order to gain that loyalty from them? So really the biggest shift for me has even been in marketing and thinking about, this like spray and pray type of mentality to really, I don't really even like to say one-to-one because it's, let's face it, like it's impossible, but like small segment to segment type of marketing and customer experiences.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned spray and pray. I think for a lot of D2C brands, it's easy to be fixated on, at least from a Google perspective, like our performance-focused campaigns and efforts. I think what you guys at Lovesac have done a good job of, like, yes, you're concentrated on that, but you've tested into upper funnel tactics like YouTube while still keeping a performance lens. And I think that has allowed us to, take small steps to the point where we're now able to test like true upper funnel and reach media.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the really smaller, much smaller brands, I understand just being kind of in that performance mindset because you have to deliver an ROI, you have to make sales plans. I mean, everybody does, right? But I understand it. But as you mature as a company, as in your marketing mix, if you don't think about upper funnel, like if, obviously the conversion funnel, brand awareness, consideration down the funnel, if you don't really think about awareness, then performance is actually not going to matter because you're just going to be talking to the same people, right? And so you've got to be able to fill the funnel at the top in order to actually keep your business healthy. Yeah. And so, we have really always thought of that. I would say when I started at Lovesac about 8 years ago is really when we started doing TV and TV commercials. And that's when our focus and our thought process like really changed in terms of brand awareness. We always were very focused on our brand and the way we come across and our brand tenets. And, we're very serious about that. But from a full funnel perspective, I would say once we really started doing television is when our focus just evolved to full funnel.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think, we sat down with Sue and her team last week and had a 2025 planning session and talked through some of the priorities and initiatives that we want to work on this year. And what was interesting to me is looking at, you do run TV, you do run YouTube, and the overlap between those audiences being so small, right? Like we're truly reaching new people on this platform, I think is really powerful. And also the stat that came out a week ago with, watch time per device for YouTube, TV is the leading device now, which is kind of mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. So when we think about translating what you're doing on traditional TV to YouTube, there's a lot of overlap between those two. Yeah,
we're really excited about YouTube because we approach YouTube as a full funnel tactic as well. And so thinking about what are the particular ads and audiences that we need to go after from an awareness standpoint. Yep. And then as people watch our videos, are brand aware, then what are we showing them otherwise? And then even our conversation last week with the Google team it was really interesting even talking about length of video. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And we're kind of in this mindset of people have short attention spans and 15 second, 30 second, maybe you go to a minute or whatever. But even after speaking with the team, even thinking about longer form, and there's that group of people that know it's we're not going to do a 30-minute, we're not a TV show, right? Yeah. But could we be doing more long form because Lovesac products are there's so much you can do, and so the person really needs that education on exactly what the platform can do: rearrangeable, changeable covers, washable, like adding surround sound inside your TV, inside your couch, right? And so from an education standpoint, it actually would make sense for us to try and do longer form, even at the brand awareness level. Yeah, that makes total sense. I guess before we move on from this topic, maybe any thoughts for somebody who's sitting in the room that feels like
YouTube might be the right next channel for us to test into, but I need to convince somebody or convince myself. Any advice on navigating those conversations?
I mean, everybody's on YouTube, right? It shouldn't be that hard to convince the powers that be that YouTube is kind of the next foray into your marketing mix.
Yeah.
I think, I'm sure everybody here uses YouTube. Some even probably have YouTube TV, and so as the consumption of content changes, we all have to change our mindsets as well, and going where our customers are or where our potential customers are, and everybody's on YouTube.
Yeah, makes sense. Go where the eyeballs are. I want to shift and talk a little bit about omni-channel, because like you said, you're pure D2C, but you're showroom first, and you have over 300 physical locations. How do you see the role of physical spaces evolving in a D2C furniture brand? Like, where do you see the future of that going?
So we are showroom first. So our frontline field is the demo. They go through a very extensive demo process with people coming in, and they're phenomenal. So our field teams are just like the heroes of Lovesac.
Yep.
So we focus a lot of our attention digitally in driving traffic into a showroom, into a physical showroom, because once someone gets the demo is when like the unlock happens, right? I mean, we try to do it online also, and I oversee e-commerce, so I think our website is great as well. But when you're speaking to somebody and they show you the demo, it's a completely different experience. And so, we are an omni-channel company, and everything we do is where are the gaps in the omni-channel experience, and every year we work closely with our retail partners to close that gap.
Yep.
And so, using YouTube or Google or whatever to be able to drive people into that showroom experience is really key for us. We have very small footprint showrooms. We don't carry inventory, D2C.
Yep.
That's why we're all here. But, our sales per square foot is third only after Apple and Tiffany.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You talked a little bit about some of the initiatives that we're working on to drive people into a store. Like, we want to drive that foot traffic, but then we're also focused on driving purchases from those customers as well. And so something interesting that we're working on is we're currently leveraging a lot of Google data to determine who's visiting and who's buying. One project that we're looking to work on and move toward is using your own first-party sales data, feeding that back into Google so that our engine and our AI can start to optimize and learn from those signals. Maybe talk a little bit about how else you've used first-party data and insights in your efforts.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're not in a cookieless world yet. You guys keep
Not
changing
yet.
your minds
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that. But
Maybe never.
So good. So far, so good, right? But in the lead up to thinking we were going to be in a cookieless world, we had some great effort put into how do we capture first-party data. And our CDP partner, we work really closely with them. And so we kind of link our CDP information and first-party data into our website platform. And we're really in the infancy now. We don't do it super well yet, but we want to be able to use that first-party data to actually create personalized experiences when you get to the website. And so for me, that's like one of the most exciting things that we're working on right now is to be able to utilize that data to actually, even at its simplest, like, are you a customer or not? Like, what have you bought?
Yep.
Okay, you bought Sactionals, but do you need to replace covers? Like, should we be showing you that? Or should we be showing you our other product lines, right? And so that's where using the data and understanding it gets me excited and like really interested.
Yeah, I feel like that personalization is key, and especially when you're selling a complex product where you have all the different options to choose from, becomes increasingly important. All right, we've got a few minutes left. Let's maybe look
He's on it.
future forward. I'm curious, looking ahead, what do you see as the biggest headwinds facing D2C brands, given the current economic climate, evolving consumer landscape. From Lovesac's perspective, what's keeping you up at night?
I mean, let's count the ways of what's keeping me up at night.
Not your Google team.
No, okay. not the Google team. I would say the headwinds are not specific to D2C. I think they're for retail in general.
Okay.
And, just understanding what is going to happen. I mean, we've had conversations about tariffs and a lot of other things, and it's really retail in general, probably most sectors really.
Yeah.
But we were able to navigate COVID really well because our lead times never really went past 2 weeks, and like some people were waiting 9 months for like a couch. And so I think we've got kind of the supply chain piece really in a good spot, but it's all those unknowns right now that you have to make contingency plans for contingency plans. And I think it's that, and it's really making sure that everybody's talking about AI also, and it's great and you can use it for creative and things like that, but our branding is really important to us. And so we haven't delved very far into AI yet, and I feel perfectly fine about that, right? I don't feel like I'm missing the boat. Yeah. And so what would keep me up at night if I was trying to move too quickly with AI and getting it wrong?
Yeah, I love that. There's a leader at Google who was going around and kind of his stump speech was make AI the most boring thing that you do this year, right? There's a lot of fancy and crazy things you can do, but keep it simple and do it right.
Yeah.
I guess if we flip to maybe the more optimistic side, what's something that you're looking forward to in the D2C space or for Lovesac in general in the next 6 or 12 months? So
it's public knowledge, but Lovesac is launching a new product in the next few months.
It's exciting.
If you know Lovesac, we have modular furniture, but most of what people purchase from us are really large setups. So really large sectionals, people build crazy things. And where we don't play as much, interestingly, is in your traditional couch love seat. And so just because Sactionals is just, it's more ripe for those larger setups. And so we are kind of delving more into a traditional couch love seat chair market where there's still a little bit of functionality. You still can change the covers and wash the covers, but it's not as modular. It's a little bit smaller. It's a different price point. And so we're kind of going after that market a little bit. And, we talk about at Lovesac, we feel like the space we play in is from the mailbox to the back fence. And so our world is our oyster in terms of what we're going to create next, what room we're going to go into next. And we do a lot of consumer research. We have a really large product development team. And so we're just really excited about the future there. And then honestly, in the space that we all work in, D2C, digital, it's always changing. I've never been bored in this space. And I just feel like it's ever changing. And it's really fun to try and keep up and try new things.
Yeah, love that. Excited for that launch. Keep an eye out for some YouTube ads coming your way soon, hopefully. Well, thank you for taking the time. This has been great. Happy to open it up to any questions from the crowd.
We're going to have a quick Q&A, so let me know if you have any questions. Just raise your hand. Please wait for the mic to come to you first. Oh, my friend in the front. Hello. Someone's coming right your way.
So, I mean, the full funnel experience makes a lot of sense. I think the part I struggle with is how do you balance and measure those upper funnel dollars effectively? And then I'd just be curious to hear when you're looking at YouTube, are you optimizing for awareness? Are you optimizing for in the funnel? So just would like to get some more clarity on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to measure awareness, right? And so the way that we do it for really most of our upper funnel tactics is traffic, whether it be traffic into a showroom or traffic to the website. We're not always on from a TV perspective, even CTV. And so when we do pulse TV into the mix, we measure how that traffic ebbs and flows with that. And then what are the customer journeys, obviously conversion rate off that. So it's not directly always correlated, but there are ways that you can kind of measure from like an ebb and flow of your business from that perspective. So we also have a media mix model. So we work with a company, an analytics company that really does a lot of that back-end modeling for us quarterly. The information isn't always timely to make decisions right away, but it's very helpful to understand, are we spending our money in the right places?
And I was just going to add, tactically, when we were first getting started, to help prove out the value and measure that, we essentially built a funnel within YouTube's video action platform. So, we had our awareness, consideration, and action broken out by audiences and audience type, but all those campaigns were optimizing toward an action. Some were, actual sales that were taking place. Some was just quality website traffic. So we're able to tie that back to, some sort of business value, which has allowed us to build momentum, build some trust, and work our way up to the more true awareness tactics that, like Sue said, can be more difficult to measure.
Any more questions? Right over here. Just 1 second. Sorry, so people can hear your question.
Have you branched the YouTube traffic from traditional YouTube to YouTube Shorts?
I guess when you say branched,
I mean, separate the audience from those who are primarily using the phone and YouTube Shorts versus the traditional 16:9 format.
Yeah, for the most part, we've kept them combined. I think, you guys have a great creative team that allows us to work with a number of different videos. And what we found is being able to combine all of those in a single campaign type and let Google or YouTube figure out where to serve them has worked best for us.
Yeah, it's optimized.
Yeah.
Another question. We have a few more. Okay, right here. Yes. And then we'll take that one more in the back over there, okay?
Hi. When you were talking about doing long form YouTube, are you talking about tutorials or creating content? Like you see so many people producing episodics and these characters. Are you thinking about telling your story that way, or again, this is how you use the product?
We have tutorials, so it probably would be telling our story in a different way that still educates. Working off of what works with TV and CTV, and then kind of expanding on that. So not like traditional tutorials necessarily. Yeah.
And we've got one more in the back. We might have time for one more question if someone has one.
Hi, I have a question about creative testing. How frequently are you refreshing your creative on YouTube and YouTube Shorts versus your other platforms?
Yeah, so from a CTV standpoint, we have our TV commercial. It's 15, 30 second, right? And we only refresh that every 2 years. We'll actually be doing that again this year. But other video creative, often. So if we've got 3 to 4 photo shoots a year, we always have a video element in those photo shoots that's, whether it's for new fabrics or, new types of configurations. We launched 5 new products last year, and so we needed video for that. And so pretty often, I would say at least 3 times a year. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. That is the amount of time we have for questions. So a big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you guys so much. You guys can leave those on the chair. You guys are awesome.